All right. Now I know there's been a Skullgirls controversy, and I was on the Spores channel like 2 weeks ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they were talking about this. Him and Shadow Paint and Lisa were both talking about it, and I was in the conversation, but I didn't know anything about the controversy, and I still have only known a little bit. From what they explained it to me, well, let's just read the thing. From what they explained it to me, basically, there the developers went in and edited one of the characters and a few other things actually too, which I didn't know they edited the other things. But yeah, here let's just get in here. Skullgirls update controversy, also known as Skullgirls censorship changes controversy, refers to the discussion surrounding a June 2023 update to the indie fighting game Skullgirls that altered or removed some suggestive imagery and themes, including the sexualization of an underage character and symbols reminiscent of real-life Nazis. The changes were met with vocal protest and review bombing on Steam. What's it at now? Oh, let's see. Well, that's not the original game. Did they take it off the site? No shot. They did, or is this it? Oh, I think from what other people were saying on Twitter, I think they actually ended up this product has experienced one or more periods of off-topic review activity based on your preferences. The reviews within these periods have been excluded from this product's review score. Yeah, I'm not a fan of review bombing. I don't think it's like a great thing to do. But in this case, like if you actually bought the product and were upset, like that's a valid critique that they changed things about the product. So that shouldn't be. But if it's just like, oh, hey, this developer said some controversial thing, or we disagree with their politics, or whatever, like, no, like I don't think that if you didn't even play, you never even played the product, never even played the game, then I don't think you should be able to critique it by leaving reviews like that. Critique it, sure, but leave reviews when you haven't actually played it. Like, I don't, I'm not a big fan of that kind of behavior. Um, but if you actually bought the game, sure, yeah, 1,000%. Critique it for whatever reason you want. Though some longtime fans of the game argue the changes were minor and that those upset were protesting perceived political correctness rather than how the changes affected the game. On June 24th, 2023, Skullgirls director Charlie Price posted in the Skullgirls forums about an update that addressed some of the game's edgier elements. The key adjustments included the removal of some symbols from the villainous Renor family and Black Egrets group that bore a resemblance to Nazism, like red armbands. The toning down of some sexually suggestive elements, including the groping of an underage character and upskirt shot of said character, and adjusting some racial content believed to be in poor taste. The full list of adjustments was posted in a separate thread. Okay, so a lot of it's just boring combat adjustments and then art adjustments. Yeah, I've not really played Skull. I'm not a fighting games person, but obviously I used to cover a lot of gaming censorship related topics, and it's still a topic that is of interest to me. Online reactions. The changes on June 24th, 2023 quickly led to the review bombing on Steam as the game's overall very positive rating on the platform was tempered by a mostly negative rating from recent reviews. Most of the recent negative reviews complained about the update and the developers removing or adjusting some of the game's contentious elements. Some users criticized that the changes were not in line with the original creator's vision, alluding to the collapse of Skullgirls' original studio, Lab Zero, after its head, Mike Zamont, joked about the killing of George Floyd and was accused of allegedly inappropriate workplace behavior. Since the collapse of Lab Zero, the studio's hidden variable, which worked on the mobile port of the game, and Future Club, a studio founded by ex-Lab Zero developers, have been working on Skullgirls. As word spread of the update on Twitter, several users denounced or complained about the changes. For example, on June 27th, user It's Claptrap decried the changes as a form of censorship, gaining over 590 retweets and 3,700 likes in one day, shown below left. Also that day, user Saved You a Click FGC voiced support for those complaining, gaining over 370 retweets and 2,100 likes in a similar time span. If you're defending the Skullgirls censorship due to philia and the black egrets, reminder that the devs are altering the art book, deleting the police brutality big band experiences, censoring/covering all fan service, not just philia, deleting Soviet announcer voice pack. It's always reveled in fan service. It was refreshing during a time of overtly clean media that hardly did anything daring. Censoring fan service is removing a piece of Skullgirl's identity, and not only that, removing concept art from the art book is literally removing history as well. If you disagree with all the changes made to Skullgirls related to character designs, artwork, etc., let me say this: don't be discouraged. You're 100% in the right. Your anger and disappointment are justified, and I support your criticisms all the way. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I'll just finish it. We're almost done. In contrast, others argued that the backlash to the changes was overblown, noting that many were perceived by them as minor and served to make the game slightly less graphic. For example, on June 27, 2023, Twitter user GalaFGC posted a home movies parody of people complaining about the changes, gaining over 2,500 retweets and 13,000 likes in one day. On June 26th, user RKMGTG posted a collage from the Steam review page, which implied those review bombing the game had not invested any time into it and were not sincerely upset about the tweaks. Yeah, if you haven't actually played the game, I don't know if you should be review bombing it or reviewing it in general. Another point of controversy was the removal of 4 pieces of guest art from the gallery of the game, which was accessed as paid DLC. Oh, damn. For example, on June 26th, yeah, this is what I was going to bring up. If people actually paid money for it, then changing it, oh, taking it out after they bought it, that is insane. For example, on June 26th, Twitter user Lumpy the Cook criticized the move in a tweet that gained over 1,000 retweets and 6,400 likes in 2 days, shown below top. Also that day, noted animated pornography creator Zone Zama, who created some art for the game, chimed in saying he wouldn't be offended if Skullgirls developers wanted to remove his art from the game. His work has not removed. This is worded poorly. They need to edit this. His work has not has not been removed from the game since, what it should say. This statement subsequently irked those who were upset about the changes. Okay. Well, let's see. Well, I'll give my preliminary take first, and then we'll watch some other views on it. My preliminary view is, first off, if people paid for DLC featuring these things that were then either taken out of the game or drastically changed, then that's not cool at all. That's extremely scummy business practices. They shouldn't do that. That's my first point. Second point is, if you had an underage character, you probably shouldn't be sexualizing them. Yeah, no, you shouldn't be. Like, the developers shouldn't have done that to begin with. But now that the game's like literally like a decade old at this point, like going into a decade old game. Let's see. 2012, 11 years. 11 years. Going in and doing an update to an 11-year-old game to take out content and change things that are artistic in nature, like, no. No. Like, if you were doing a like a remake and you're trying to like do like not just like a graphics update, but like a full-on remake of the game, then sure, yeah, take that out. But taking it out 11 years after the fact, I don't know. That's a bit much. Just whatever. Just say, hey, look, we made a mistake. We shouldn't have done this to begin with. Whatever. And the Nazi imagery thing, like, I don't know. Like, maybe there's story reasons for that. Um, Like maybe I mean, clearly, right? Clearly, you don't have red armbands and stuff like that in a game unless it's deliberately meant to invoke that. So keep it in there. Keep that in there. I mean, like, yeah, that's you're like, oh well, Nazis are bad. Well, yeah, sure. Like, I assume that the characters who are portrayed in a Nazi-like way are probably the bad characters. I don't know. I have not played it, but that would be my assumption. I assume that they're not like the good guys. So yeah, like let them be bad guys. All right, my boy Appabend, someone I used to hang out with in Gamergate. Been on his show a couple. Well, actually, no, I think I've been on his show maybe once or twice. I don't. Dude, it's been so long. He's been on my program though, my old program, a few times. I think I've been on his a couple as well, but I'm not 100%. It's been so long. But we did talk in streams several times back in the day. He has got a video on this, and so does JT Vega, and this is one of the people who's criticizing the Skullgirls thing. So
First reboot video, and what topic are we gonna discuss? Skullgirls? A game from a decade ago? The same topic that I discussed on the APB show? Stream channel, link down below, or subscribe? Wow. How meta. Okay then. Let's talk about it. Last week, there was a huge controversy involving the video game Skullgirls. I haven't played the game in a while. I played the game like literally decades ago. It was fine, not my cup of tea. It's a fighting game that's apparently good enough to be even played on competitive esports like EVO. Why is it a huge controversy? Well, it's because there's quite a lot of content that got censored. There are loads and loads of content that got censored on Skullgirls. I can link you guys a video covering some of the censored content. You can go ahead and check it out. They change or remove loads of artwork and visual details or other stuff for reasons that they actually explain in the blog post, and we'll get to that in a bit. Now, if you go to Skullgirls Steam page directly, you will notice that the game receives overwhelmingly negative reviews because the censorship update is a stab in the back for the players who have supported the game. Loads of players opted to just get the game from the 7 Seas. I found a copy of the second encore version of the game with bonus content and the old uncensored content remaining. So the 7 Seas are still an option for a lot of you fans out there if you still want to play the game without the censorship. Now, I don't want to give a comprehensive breakdown of all the art assets that got censored. I will, however, provide feedback for their justification on censoring the art content and why they chose to censor them. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, these are some real classic censorship excuses, and it just reminds me so much of the times where I am at my old classic avatar. And speaking of throwback, I'm sure you'll miss this voice.
As we look ahead towards the future of Skullgirls, we have reflected upon past decisions regarding certain content that has undermined many things.
there's one YouTube channel in particular, Censored Gaming. I wonder if they're still around because they cover exactly what was changed in games like this usually. Okay, but they're not. Yeah, they're not really active anymore. Looks like, or very rarely. You went away. You went away right during the time of big controversy, Censored Gaming. Right when a huge controversy hits, is when you went away. Of course.
That make Skullgirls truly unique and special.
I really love this statement in particular, and I just absolutely love how insanely meta it is when compared to the reboot of this channel. How can something from the past times that made it unique and special be undermining the things that made it truly unique and special? Aren't they the ones that make them truly unique and special to begin with? This whole thing just makes no sense.
As such, as part of our most recent rounds of updates across all platforms, consoles, and mobile, we have decided to make some changes to certain legacy content in the spirit of better reflecting our values and our broad vision for Skullgirls moving forward.
First off, console and mobile, so I guess PC doesn't count in this matter, but only if you got the game from the 7 Seas. Second, better reflecting our values and broad vision is basically just corporate speak of, we only care what we think, not what you guys think. I guess this is to be expected with the people who used to develop the game are no longer in the team, and the whole team got absorbed by some big corporate executives that have no idea what passion is.
So Apple makes a point here, actually. Why not just bring it up with the community and ask them what changes they want to make? After all, they're the ones playing the game. They could do a poll on their official forums or whatever to determine what the fans actually think before making any sort of change. Like any sort of change. Like obviously, if you're a developer and you have an artistic vision, in this case, it's not even the original developer, but if you have an artistic vision, like you're not gonna like let the fans make every single decision based on poll. But if it's a major change where you're actually taking out a bunch of content and there's not really like an artistic reason for it, it's just sort of like, oh well, look, maybe we should have done this to begin with, or we don't like the Nazi imagery now, so we're gonna take that out. Like, just put it up, let the fans decide if you're really that worried about it.
So what are the changes that are made in Skullgirls? Well, the first one is about how the game is alluding to real-world hate groups. Basically, some of the characters have accessories that might be associated to real-world hate groups, and the game censors them so that they are not associated with them. This is the same thing that happened in the newer World War II Call of Duty games, and it's a good indication of why they suck. I mean, I get that these hate groups in the real world exist even to this day, and those people cause quite a lot of trauma to the people who have been affected by them, but the same thing can be said to pretty much any tragic event that happened in the game or in any fiction in general. I'm sorry to say this, but if you feel genuinely affected by the presence of unpleasant things that remind you of something in the real world, then it's more of a you problem than the game game problem. This is why most of the fans of the game feel alienated. They don't feel offended by any of these content. And since the developers are changing stuff to make content less offensive, it begs the question, who are they changing them for? It's certainly not the fans.
Well, that's also a good point by AppleBen too. I guess it's literally a video game, right? If you're offended by it, just don't play the game. It's that simple.
So when game developers make moves that are not for the fans, don't be surprised when the fans don't like it. The next one is about character sexualization and agency. Apparently fictional characters have agencies now. This one is just bizarre in the most baffling ways. Skullgirls is no stranger to characters that confidently express their sexuality. It's no stranger, in fact, that it's like one of the top selling points of the game. The fact that the game has fan service content. Like, that's one of the reasons why people love the game. It's called Skullgirls, for God's sake. However, I guess old Skullgirls is way too raunchy, so let's just change them. But here's the problem. The raunchy content is still there. It's only like 1% less raunchy. Like, look at the screenshot over here. I can barely tell the difference, and it still doesn't change the fact that the characters are being tied up in freaking tentacles. It's a very not safe for work scenario either way. So who cares if the frame doesn't show a character's top? Those tentacles are gonna strip them anyways. If you scroll through the changes that the game made in the video that I linked down below, you might notice a recurring trend. The changes that they make are insignificant. It's to the point where it boggles my mind in why they made the change to begin with. One of the changes, remove a comb from one of the characters. A comb. I didn't know this thing's gonna spark some serious controversies, but okay then, let's keep on reading. There are definitely instances where the characters are being fetishized and or have sexualization imposed upon them, but isn't the point of a fan service game is to, you know, have freaking fan service? If you don't want to appeal to that weird subset of anime fans that love...
Oh no! I'm not sure if you caught that, but someone on their team left at the last second, so then me and and someone else jumped down at the same time.
Of teenage anime girls. First off, don't make something that features an anime schoolgirl as a main character. And second, it's not a weird subset of anime fans that love teenage anime girls. It's like 99.9% of anime fans. So you better just give up on that prospect. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you don't want to appeal to perverts, don't make stuff for perverts. Schoolgirls trying to disassociate themselves with the perverts is about as convincing as Dead or Alive trying to disassociate themselves with the perverts. You might as well make something new at that point because your franchise has already been associated with fan service and perverts, and there's nothing much you can do to free yourself from that association. There are loads of other reasons like racial sensitivity and stereotypes. The developers are so confident that this will provide a more sound foundation for Skullgirls that you can all be proud of. Well, considering the insanely negative backlash that this got from all the players, no, it doesn't seem like you guys should be proud of these changes because the negative backlash is right there. But there are also backlashes to the backlash. A bunch of them always involve calling the fans who played the game non-fans. Apparently, them removing the weird content for the minors and the harmful imagery is not censorship. Wrong. It is censorship. Removing harmful imagery to not offend anyone is by definition censorship. And it doesn't matter if it's a minor who got censored or not. Oh, and saying weebs don't deserve rights. Funny of you to say that because without those same weebs buying this game wouldn't have been popular in the first place. You got these new fans of the game defending the game's changes and calling the fans of the original game predators to children, while they themselves were probably children when the game was released. How righteous of you to say that you are not a predator to children by the virtue that you are not attracted to fictional...
Yeah, I've not looked into that aspect of it. I think we do have a video coming up on that, but yeah, apparently the developers have actually like been like hardcore like dicks to the fans who've been criticizing them. Like they haven't just been like, "Hey, look, we understand your concerns." Like they've been complete fucking assholes. That's what I've read. So let's see.
Anime girls. At least the weebs don't have a track record of diddling actual real-life kids, unlike the moral guardians like you. So in conclusion, what the hell were these developers thinking when they made this update? It's not the significance of the update because a lot of these changes are so minuscule to the point where it boggles the mind in why they do the update to begin with. It's what it represents that people are irritated by. Making changes to the previous content of this game in order to not offend anyone represent a stab in the back for those who have supported this game for so long. They are not offended by the content of this game. In fact, they love the content of this game. So who are they making these changes for? It's certainly not them. But hey, if you think that these changes are steps to the right direction, that's perfectly fine. You can choose to buy this game and hey, maybe enjoy this game when it's on Evo again because it is on Evo again. Maybe that's why they make all these stupid changes. But for the rest of the people who played the game and enjoyed it for what it was, these changes baffled them and most importantly, alienate them. If you can't understand why that is and you can only see it as, oh, these people are just mad that they can't see Philly as underskirts anymore. Good for you for minimizing their concerns into a simple underskirt issue, but that still won't convince a lot of these people to buy the game or continue supporting this game. You're only alienating these people more and more and convince them that it's better to just ditch the game and find a copy in the 7 Seas. Or heck, move on to Street Fighter 6. I mean, Capcom has been making some rather questionable design choices lately, but at least their game is better and they respect the classic costumes. Failing that, Melty Blood is still an option. And that's all for the video today. Guys, thank you so much for joining in. Man, I love going back to my old roots. Oh my lord. And if you enjoyed as well, click the like button.
Alright. JT's got a video on it.
Hey guess I better go and talk about.
See, this is why Zigzag Tug of War is such a great game to play because you don't have to do anything. When you could like you could like minimize it and be like, okay,
About the backlash about Skullgirls Second Encore. Keep in mind, the game itself is a pretty old game. I played this game before.
you're too quiet, JT.
It's been around for a long time. Like,
You're too
this is a
quiet.
decade-old game. I played myself too, but I kind of
Can
stopped
you hear him
playing
okay
it,
in the chat?
because they
Let me
kept
know.
adding more content to it, and I was just like, it was fun the way it was. But instead of making a sequel to it, they decided to keep going with it with adding more like characters and content to it. And I was just like, they added a character. Oh wow.
True, true. So actually, that's a great point with the sequels. If they are really unhappy with the original product that they developed, well, that they didn't even develop, that they took over from a different developer, why not just make a sequel, and then like not have the things you don't like in the sequel?
Keep in mind, they were trying their best to make money off of this game, and of course, the studio decided to make another game, which didn't do so well for themselves. But as far as I know, Mike Z, the creator of the Z Engine, that guy who got into some drama a few years back. Now, a lot of people are talking about this, bringing up the situation about Skullgirls and what they're doing because of the fact that they run out Alex Ahmed and Mike Z in this situation, and seeing how they are doing more damage to the to the game itself. As you can see, like, people are making like review bombs of everything. Now, the person basically, one particular review I kind of had to agree with because I have purchased the Skullgirls game multiple times, and a particular one when he basically said, ignoring whatever changes are, the reason I'm aggravated by this update is that they're removing content that I paid for. I paid for the announcer packs, I paid for the skins, I paid for the voice lines. The game is more than a decade old. Why is the content getting removed with no suitable replacement? Now, that's the thing that, keep in mind, is what this guy's talking about. I decided none of the content is being removed. Offended me. Why is it being taken away? Wouldn't it make more sense to add a menu button to hide the questionable content for users who decided they don't want to see it? Why do the users and the people who paid for this game in some state completeness now have a different product than when they paid for it? Now, this is what probably upset some people about the recent updates, because of the fact that what has been said right here, saying, hey, as many as you know, Skullgirls has a long colorful history shaped by record contributors over the years. As we look ahead towards the future Skullgirls, we reflected upon the past decisions regarding certain content that has undermined many things that make Skullgirls truly unique and special, such as the part of the most recent round of updates across all platforms, consoles, and mobile. We have decided to make some changes to certain legacy content in the spirit of better reflecting our values, our broad vision of Skullgirls moving forward. Below is an overview of many of those changes and some insight into the rationale for adjustments. Now, they basically said illusion of the real world of hate groups. While Renor family and the Black Egets were intended to evoke a imagery of oppressive militant regimes, we felt that the way manifested more notably to the red armbands, flags of symbol.
Oh, so yeah, it was the bad guys. Clear, yeah. So what the fuck? Like, if the bad guys are evil and you want to draw a direct line with them and oppressive regimes, like you say, then like it makes perfect sense that you would have Nazi iconography or things reminiscent of fascism. Like, yeah, duh.
Was way too close for comfort, especially given the uncomfortable reality of some of these hate groups are still active in various respects to this day. Okay, I guess they really feel that way. The other one was, while Skullgirls, I'm just going to skip it. While Skullgirls is no longer a character confidently expressing their sexuality, there's an instance of the game where characters are fetishized and have sexualized imposed upon them. It includes a few depictions of unwanted predatory, particularly towards the younger characters. Now, there's also the racial insensitivity thing, which Sexploitation Pack have made adjustments to some of the content we believe was in poor taste in reference to racial violence of the Big Bang story mode. Now, yeah, but they really went into this, and that's why I stopped playing it, for that reason. Why are you guys going to get upset about this? You could just, tell them, I'm not playing this game. I'm not playing this shit. I'm out. That's why I stopped playing this, because of the fact that they kept trying to promote themselves as the good guys, and already they're just screwing up the game by basically virtue signaling. Like, makes the game with Nazi-inspired groups, gets mad, and they look like Nazis. Makes horny game, mad, it's horny. Virtue signals about it. It's like, people took control of the Skullgirls. Sure got pretty full of themselves after they chased Mike Z and Alex Ahad out of the company. Now, keep in mind, Mike Z is suing them. He's pretty upset with what they're doing, and it's like, I have to say this. Everyone knows Mike Z is an autistic spectrum. When I even said that, they took advantage of it because of his awkward personality. that also used they also used the drama of him chatting with a cosplayer, which I saw the logs, which was Bunny IU, which a lot of people remember that drama. It turns out Bunny IU was not a really good person and basically lied to people, especially reading the chat logs. Mike Z was really tame. He wasn't really sexual. He basically was asking her some really, nice questions, basically asking what are your plans for the future, like stuff like that as a cosplayer. That was the kind of stuff that, and basically asking him about her about streaming, which wasn't like sexual in nature, but she turned it into a drama that just, she felt creeped out about it. I'm just like, wow, that's low. And then we find out that she was friends with one of the developers who made that game. So yeah, this situation is pretty bad because the developers right now are really pissing off the fans of this game, and no matter what's going on, it's just not going to really help. So I hate to say this, stop playing the game. It's that simple. Like, if they're going to be acting like this, it's best to let them not, the less of a player base it is, the better. They won't, basically they'll learn, because if they think
Okay,
that
here's
their
the
values
thing.
matter.
Should I deliberately try to fuck this up in the game? Should I immediately try to create like the most congested bullshit thing ever? Because I 100% can. We'll see if anybody says anything. I'm sure Red will.
Because they're just basically enforcing their values upon others, and not everyone follows their values. I understand that some people, get upset, but here's the thing: you don't have to play this game. I stopped playing it for a long time ago. I understand everyone enjoys it. It's a fun game, but it's best not to play it if you feel upset about what they're doing to the game, especially with this person who made that point that they're removing a lot of content without replacing it, and didn't even think about the possible consequences of it. And right now, they're possibly paying the consequences of this. So anyways, guys, leave your thoughts down below and tell me what you guys think of this, because I got to get out of here. You guys have a good night. Peace.
All right.
Man, some days I look at
This person I don't know, so we'll see what they say.
this game and I feel just
If
like
it's
a
boring, I'll just move on.
battered housewife or something. Like, I don't know
Yeah, we'll do 1.5.
what the hell is going on anymore.
The
So,
art style is really cool. You gotta admit, like, the art style in this game is... Hang on, you guys can't even see it. Let me switch the OBS window. The art style in this game is actually...
I don't know, man. Some days I look at this game and I feel just like a battered housewife or something. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on anymore. So this video is gonna be a lot of rambling, kind of off the cuff. I didn't really write a script for this, but Skullgirls. Hey, remember that game? Yeah, that game. I was a champion for it. I sat there, I stood there from the mountaintops, and I was screaming this game's name, and I was I was doing a lot. I was shilling this game pretty hard. And then this update hits, and you know what? There comes a point in life where you just gotta learn. You just gotta walk away.
Oh, he
you
rage
just gotta
quit.
say, I'm done. Throw in the towel.
Okay, maybe I should have trolled that hard, but
When they did the whole Sonic Fox thing, they had the backlash. I didn't like it. I downloaded the mod. I actually made a video telling people how to install the mod, but I still stood by the game. When Mike Z had his awkward Twitter chat that got him canceled and blacklisted from the entire internet and games industry because he said very cringy things, I was like, all right, whatever.
alright, I'm not that interested. Let's move on to the next topic.